Wow. I couldn't wait. I was bloody dreaming about it all night, this damned Union Graduate lathe. And so I've mounted a test piece onto the Union Graduate of this big Burr Oak that I've got. And it gets you, doesn't it? This woodworking, it gets you. Anyway, it's a 2.5-inch thick, 28-inch diameter slab of Burr Oak on here, and it is really burred. It is beautiful, and this is the test piece to see if the bolts will hold, make sure they're set before doing the really big pieces. But I just couldn't wait. I've come in here this morning, and I've got to get on and do this. I've dropped the other projects, and I'm working on a series of new stuff as well that is really exciting, but come on, hey? You got to get on and play. So let me just quickly show you one of the new pieces I'm working on. Excuse my head in the camera. Oh, here we go. Right, so this is a piece of bird willow, and I've been playing with this sort of project, and I'm really enjoying this as well. It's gorgeous. This has been oiled, but it needs it's raised the grain a little bit, being willow, more than I anticipated. So I'm going to sand it back off, go finer with the sandpaper, and then re-oil it. But I'm loving playing with these things. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I gotta leave that alone for the time being, because the Graduate is calling. It's absolutely calling to me. So, and so's this oak. So I'm gonna get set up, and then maybe you stick around and watch me have a play with this thing, hey? So what we're gonna do then is, first off, is true the outer diameter up. Very carefully and slowly, I think. I might have to stop and move some machinery in a minute, because I've got limited access, but we'll see how we get on. We should be all right, but we'll see how we get on. So, let's fire the old girl up. Right, so we're not quite there yet, but I've just brought you in so that you can see this edge and see all the burring. It's coming on, but I haven't quite got it. You can see there, look, the tool hasn't touched that yet. So, got to keep working it. But I just wanted to remind you all how important it is, to, especially on the edge, or, well, no matter when you turn it, just periodically stop and make sure your tool rest is as close as you can get it, with safety in mind, obviously. Any wide gaps, you want to move your tool rest so that it closes it up. It's just, it gives you better control when your tool rest is really close to the wood. Anyway, I'll crack on. So I've repositioned the tool rest and the camera, and I'm now going to true up what will be the top of the piece. So basically working around the back of the lathe, and this will enable me to, once I get that true, I'll be able to judge the thickness when I'm turning the back. So getting it true now makes it easier. So as you can see, I'm starting to true it up nicely, and the burrs are starting to reveal themselves. Still a bit to go, look, where our tool's not touching yet, still bouncing a little bit. But look at these burrs revealing themselves. Aren't they beautiful? Right, keep going. Okay, so I thought I'd stop a minute just to share a little tip with you. I'm obviously using a freestanding tool rest with this lathe, and I've done the what will be the top now, basically on the back surface of how it's mounted at the moment, and I've trued that up. I now need to move that tool rest, and because you've been turning, the floor is covered in wood shavings and dust and stuff. When I move the tool rest, I don't want it to be sat on that. I want it to be sat flat on the floor, so there's no play or movement as I'm turning. So I've been and bought one of these cheap blowers, and I just blow everything out of the way before I move the tool rest, so that I move it and it's sat flat on the floor. What you don't want is it sat on those shavings and then you have wobble movement as you're turning, because you are likely to get hurt that way. So it's just a little trick I use. Okay, so with the tool rest moved and the camera moved, we're going to now start properly on what will be the back of this piece, the piece facing us on the lathe. Obviously this is going to be the bottom of the platter, so we're going to take a lot of this off. So we're just going to true it as we take a lot off. So making sure that the piece stays clear of the tool rest, but you got the tool rest as close as you can. Fire the lathe up and go for it. Right guys, the first part of it's done. Some hard oak that is. So the slab that this was cut from was from a tree that stood on the border between Wiltshire and Dorset, and it were a big old oak. The slabs I got, they were 11.5 foot long by about 4.5 foot wide, about 2.5 inch thick. There were bigger slabs there from the tree, from the lower part of the main trunk. And I'll be honest with you, we just couldn't lift them, even though they've been air dried for 5.5 years. So they were perfect and ready to go. We just couldn't lift them. So this tree was a massive old oak tree, 5.5 foot wide slabs. Now, I don't know about you, but that's getting on to the late hundreds year old, that tree. And this oak is like iron. It really is, but it's gorgeous, isn't it? It really is beautiful. Lots of burring in there. I've given it a light sand, and you can see that there's pencil marks in there ready for me to do the glue chucking to reverse it. Unfortunately though, I haven't got time to do that today, and I've got a couple of days away from the workshop. So I'm going to post this video and then at a later date come back, finish this off, film it, and make a part 2. I'm also going to do a little bit of something different. I don't normally add much colour to my work other than metallic stuff or a bit of black ebonizing or maybe a bit of burnishing. But I am going to try something really new to me. So stick around for part 2, because I'm going to finish this beast off, and then I'm going to have a go at something totally new. Not used it before, and I have no idea what it's going to look like, but I'm hoping it might look all right. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Cheers. Just before I do go, guys, I'll just share a bit of knowledge with you, or advice, I suppose. I mentioned in a video previously that not the Heckner, it's a union graduate. The union graduate has been raised because I'm tall, and what I've done is I've sat it on some RSJs. Now, the RSJ is in a configuration of a capital T, like that. On the top of the T, there's a bolt hole either end, and that's gone into the ground. And then at the bottom of the T, on the end of it, there's 2 bolt holes, and they're into the ground. So there's 4 bolts resined into the floor, which is what holds the I-beam. On the top of the I-beam, there's 3 holes that are bolted. The lathe is bolted to the I-beam. Now, that I-beam is flexing. Very slightly, but it is creating a wobble. Now, that's only 28 inches. So I'm a bit surprised it's doing that, I have to say. So what I'm going to have to do is on that T, I'm going to have to take an angle of iron and weld it across like that to give the very end of the bottom of the T some support and stop it from moving. Because what's happening is the upright of the I section is allowing the top to pivot, which is of course translating up here when I'm turning. Now, although this is unbalanced, as I say, it's only 28 inches, realistically, I'm very surprised that I-beam's flexing like that, and there is no way I can put a 4.5 foot diameter, well and truly unbalanced big slab of oak on this without reinforcing that, because that flex will only get worse the more weight is unbalanced on the lathe, if you catch my drift. So what I'm going to say to you is, if you are a tall lad like me, or girl, I would use box section steel to raise your lathe up rather than what I've used is I-beam. And that would be the way to go, I think, because I can't have this flexing like this. So hopefully in the next week or 2, I should get somebody in and they can tack weld it up for me. I'm just gonna put some flat bar and weld it across the T's, the diagonals at maybe about 45-degree angles, and hopefully that'll stop the top of that I-beam from flexing.
Right, I'll let you go now. Have fun. Take care of yourselves.